Hello and welcome to TATV Newsround. I'm Alan Peaford.
And I'm Ellen Ethersall.
And we are coming to the end of 2021 just as we started it, with fears of increasing threats to our industry through more border closures and an interruption to travel in store. Mark Pilling talks to the CEO of CFM, Gael Méheust, about his outlook for the industry in 2022.
But others face a gloomier future. Robin Rabec reports from a South African general aviation field and its battle for survival.
And we take a look too at whether there is life in the A380. Dubai carrier Emirates certainly hope so.
But first, here's this week's news, aerospace and defence headlines from across the Middle East, Africa and South Asia. The UAE has suspended negotiations with the US over the planned $23 billion purchase of 50 Lockheed Martin F-35 fighter jets, as it reassesses the strategic requirements and the cost benefits of the aircraft. The Pentagon says it is still open for discussion and wants the sale to go ahead. The US had already delayed the deal, which had originally been agreed by President Donald Trump. It is understood that the UAE has stepped back following American pressure for the UAE to remove Huawei technologies from its proposed 5G telecommunications network over the next 4 years, and to take other steps to distance itself from China, something that the UAE says threatens its sovereignty. India's domestic air transport market appears to be recovering, with November figures showing it passed the 10 million passenger mark for the first time since February 2020. During November, airlines carried 10.5 million passengers, compared to 6.4 million the same month last year. This comes among reports that a revived Jet Airways, dubbed Jet Airways 2, could take to the skies as early as next summer, operating as a full-service domestic airline with a fleet of 6 aircraft. Another back-from-the-dead airline, South African Airways, has signed a cooperation agreement with local and regional carrier SEM Air that extends the route network reach of both operators. SAA's interim CEO, Thomas Kokolo, said the agreement will lower the cost of bookings for passengers. Qatar Executive has taken delivery of a further 3 Gulfstream G50ER aircraft, taking its fleet to 11. All 3 aircraft will operate on ultra-long-haul routes. It should become around a dozen soon, with the delivery of a 12th aircraft expected before the end of the year. Iraqi Airways Authority has extended its deal with Egypt Air Training Academy to train Iraqi pilots, cabin crew, engineers and dispatchers. The new approval will include training programs and simulators for the Airbus A320, A330 and A340, as well as the Boeing 737. The air transport industry must take sustainability into its transformation, says SITA Chief Executive Sebastian Faber. He said SITA examined critical travel technology trends emerging from the pandemic that are set to transform the industry in 2022, including automation and digital health, airport operational efficiency and sustainability. Pegasus Airlines has set its interim target for 2030 to reinforce its commitment to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050. The airline says it will reduce flight-related carbon emissions per unit by 20% by 2030 compared to its 2019 levels. SpiceJet is going the extra mile with its cargo services and is to introduce drone delivery service, which will transport vaccines, life-saving medicines and essential goods. The Indian budget carrier has partnered with Throttle Aerospace for more than 50 customised high-end drones, while Aerologic will provide the drone software management. Royal Air Maroc is celebrating a rare moment of good news. It has been voted the best airline in Africa at the Global Traveller Awards. The airline was also ranked 4th best airline in the Middle East and North Africa region, outperformed only by Etihad Airways, Emirates and Qatar Airways. And finally, it was only a few years back that a woman behind a steering wheel would be impossible to see in Saudi Arabia. But now Saudia Cargo has signed a sponsorship deal to back a Saudi female rally driver, Mashael Al-Abadan. Mashael will be the first Saudi woman to participate in next year's Dakar Rally. Teddy Zebitz, the airline's CEO, said there are shared values and attributes between rally drivers and Saudia Cargo, as both face challenging routes, undergo long-haul races and recognise the need to overcome obstacles under pressure. And that looks like a lot of fun.
Now, Mark Pilling has been talking to the chief executive of engine maker CFM, Gael Méheust, about how his company sees the year ahead. Mark.
As 2021 draws to a close, how do you see the market as we prepare for 2022?
Well, the traffic, the single aisle traffic, single aisle is the market for CFM, so that's the one we follow in particular, is back at 75% worldwide compared to where we were in 2019, which is already a good trend of improvement, because if you remember earlier this year, we were 50% only of the 2019 traffic numbers. We think we will be back to pre-pandemic traffic levels late 2022, early 2023. If you look at the LEAP engine, for instance, interestingly, the LEAP-powered aircraft have already returned to their pre-pandemic utilization rates, so faster than the average of the fleet. Sorry. So that's good news, and we believe that in 2022, the rest of the fleet will follow that trend. And so, despite the difficulties that we have encountered throughout the last 20 months, we are optimistic that 2022 will be the year that takes us back to full recovery.
While we are looking into the future, we have seen a lot of progress over the past year with urban and advanced aviation systems, with a number of aircraft we recognise from general aviation trialling electric power to help us plan to move people around sustainably. But their success depends on the presence of regional airfields. And around the world, we hear of small secondary airfields under threat from developers. Durban in South Africa has its own challenge, as Rabec reports.
Virginia Airport, one of the most iconic airports on the east coast of South Africa, is on borrowed time and threatened with possible closure. Faced with calls for alternative developments beyond the interests of an airport, the municipal landlord has chosen not to renew long-term lease arrangements for occupation and use of the airport property. For almost 65 years, this small but unique city airport has served the interests for flight training schools, general aviation, and for a variety of fixed-based operators providing corporate and executive aircraft charter services. The Municipal Authority for the City of Durban, the owners of the property, have serviced and maintained the airport's terminal buildings and provided infrastructural support for the airport facilities, including the aerodrome, firefighting services, and maintenance for the 950-meter runway with its basic lighting system. John Dyer, a seasoned professional pilot from Durban, has ferried aircraft from across Europe, the Americas, directly into Durban's Virginia Airport.
It's probably one of the best airports that I've seen in the world, and I've done a lot of ferries to Europe, Canada, the United States. I've landed at a lot of regional airports throughout the world. Virginia, in my opinion, is the most ideally situated airport in the world. The circuits are out to sea, which is hugely beneficial for safety, and it's an artery for all the business that goes in and out of here with the aircraft owners that have large factories such as Johnson's Workwear. You've got Aspen Pharmaceuticals. They all own aircraft here.
Aircraft owners, charter operators, and maintenance organizations, including the owners of private hangars and buildings, continue to function under the veil of a possible 30 days notice clause to vacate the airport property when or if the eThekwini municipality chooses to close down Virginia Airport. While there has been no official reason or date indicated by the municipality for the possible closure of the airport, speculation is rife about intentions for the future use of the property.
The big issue here is that the City of Durban does not realise what an asset it has in Virginia Airport. That exposes the City Council to approaches by developers who see the value of turning this airport, which they see as clear ground, into a place for hotels and development. The place for hotels and development is fine, but there is a lot of other usable land in and around Durban that's not an airport. To replace an airport like Virginia is going to require a full environmental impact study, and that's going to take years, and quite frankly, there are no locations within the city limits to build an airport.
And you talk to people from around the world, this is one of the most beautiful little general aviation airports in the world. It's fantastic, and all we need to do is get our city to embrace it and look after it and appreciate its value.
Well, it's been interesting lately to see a return to the skies of the A380. And Emirates last week received the last of the giant of the airways to be produced by Airbus. The Super Jumbo A6 EVS is the 123rd to join the Dubai fleet, reinforcing the airline's 21-year commitment to the programme. Passengers around the world have mourned the end of production, but Emirates see the type as part of their long-term plans as the industry sets to reopen routes. Singapore, BA and even Qatar have brought their A380s back for now. But Emirates are bringing back pilots and new recruits to train for a new era of recovery. Receiving delivery of a brand new aircraft amidst an unprecedented global pandemic, Emirates is once again signalling its optimism for industry recovery and the return of travel demand. It was the first airline, of course, to announce an order for the A380 at the 2000 Farnborough Air Show when the aircraft was still marketed as the AXXX. This was followed with a firm commitment and an additional order for 15 more units at the 2001 Dubai Air Show. A bold statement just 6 weeks after the events of 9/11 challenged the industry like never before. But since it took to the sky, the A380 has continued to capture imaginations, generate excitement wherever it operates, and attract traveller preference for its quiet, spacious and comfortable interiors. And of course these latest A380s are of course introducing premium economy seats. Sir Tim Clark, the president of Emirates Airlines, said that the A380 had given Emirates the opportunity to redefine the travel experience, efficiently serve demand at slot-constrained airports and bolster network growth. And the A380, he said, will remain Emirates' flagship product for the coming years and a vital pillar of its network plans. That's great to know. Ella.
That's it from us for this year. We're all hoping that 2022 will bring us that recovery. And so we wish you a very happy, prosperous and safe New Year.
And we're going to be back in January. So if you're short of a New Year's resolution, how about resolving to subscribe to our Times Aerospace YouTube channel just to keep up to date with the insights into our industry?
Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.
How do we achieve ultimate defense interoperability? Inspired by Vision 2030, we are introducing the first of its kind, the World Defense Show. Integrating land, air, sea, satellite, and security.